Hello everybody, it's Mr. Hoy again. This is the third example I'm doing on the discriminant. In this situation, we're going to have the function f of x equals negative 1x squared. That's an important point here. Negative 1 is the coefficient. But negative 1x squared minus 8x minus 16. Here again, we're using the discriminant formula, b squared minus 4ac. We're going to go in here and substitute the b value, that's negative 8, here into the function and square it. We're going to substitute the negative 1 from the function here, that a value, into the equation, and negative 16 will come into this as well. So when we're setting this up, this should work the same way as the previous questions. I would guard here against potential mistakes. Specifically here, you're multiplying a negative 4 by a negative 1 and by a negative 16. So you're doing a negative times a negative, yielding a positive result, positive 4, and then multiplying that positive 4 by another negative number, and getting negative 64. So I'm not as concerned about negative 8 times negative 8. Most students have no issue with that. But specifically here with the negative times the negative times the negative, you want to be especially careful. Write down maybe this middle step. You could jot down that you multiply these two together. You could write positive 4 here maybe, then multiply that 4 by this last number, this negative 16, just so you make sure you do that correctly. You'll get 64 minus 64, that's of course 0. That 0 discriminant results in only one solution, x-intercept or root. Reason for that being, if 0 is the discriminant, that's going to go inside this radical, and if you're solving using the quadratic formula, something I'll do later in this assignment, if you're solving and you've got a 0 as the number inside the radical, the square root of 0 is 0. And then if you have to add or subtract 0, you're not really changing the number that you had previous to that. So if you have a positive discriminant, you might add a number to that and subtract that number from your negative b value. So you're going to fluctuate up and down some amount. With this question, we're adding or subtracting 0. You're not making any significant change, or any change at all for that matter, to the question. So in this situation, we don't really need to worry about the impact the discriminant has on the answer. In fact, you're just going to have negative b over 2a, which is how you find your vertex. That's going to be your intercept. Your vertex will be your intercept, which is why it results in only one solution, because that vertex that you find, that negative b over 2a, is going to be sitting right on top of the x-axis, either facing upward or in this case facing downward, again because we have that negative 1. And we're not going to have multiple intersections of our parabola and the graph. We'll just have the vertex itself sitting on top of the graph. So again, to recap and to kind of simplify what I've been saying, your main focus here is substituting numbers into this b squared minus 4ac and making sure to calculate those correctly, paying special attention to any negative numbers here in the minus 4ac section of the problem. Once you get the discriminant, then you just want to determine, is this a positive number? Okay, 2 solutions. Is it a negative number? No solutions. Or the third possibility, is it 0? Which is what we have here, and a 0 discriminant will result in only one solution to the question.